things. So
yes.
it's sort of a pun on baguette.
Oh, okay. Tagette. So now I would be pronouncing it correctly. Tagette. When I read your mail, actually I was doing a little bit of window shopping with the tool, and I was trying my hand to use it. So I thought, no, first it has to be through somebody who can give us an overview of it, and then we can go ahead with this also.
Yeah, definitely happy to be here and give an overview of Teget. It's a pretty like straight up qualitative research tool. So there's no like quantitative or statistics component. It's just for qual, which makes it really nice because it's focused.
Okay.
So yeah.
That's great. So at least we have one genuine software which is dedicated to purely qualitative. That's
Exactly.
good. That's wonderful. So I was waiting right from the morning, okay, Vicky would be joining us up and we would be learning Tagette. Yes, that's right. Thank you. I'm just waiting for 2 more minutes and then we will start off, okay, because I don't want to waste any time in this. I want to learn more and more about the Teget.
Sure, no problem.
So if this is yours only, basically, you're the founder of Teget?
So actually, it's my husband is the one who is the main developer, and I work on some development things, but not all of them. And I do a lot of like the outreach and documentation and teaching.
Oh,
So that's sort of how we've split up the duties. He's a software engineer by trade. He doesn't
okay.
really know anything about qualitative research, and I do a lot of qualitative research. So I also gave him like some requirements,
Oh,
and sort of the origin story of Tagette was
mhm.
me complaining to him that there were no free and open source qualitative analysis tools. It
Mm.
was you have to pay a certain amount a month for access to a software, or you pay hundreds a year for something like In Vivo or Max QDA or Atlas TI, but there weren't many free options. And so that's kind of why he made Tagette, because we saw that there weren't any sort of, free and open source options.
Yes, that's right. That's true. Absolutely right. You are. So in this way, I think scholars and some of the faculty members are really lucky to get a free and open source tool like Tagget, and then they can go ahead to utilize it more and more.
Yeah, and
Excellent.
thankfully, since we started Teget, there have been at least, there's Qualcoder as well, which is another free and open source tool, which you might all want to look at. It's really nice.
Can you just give us in the chat box what is
Yeah,
the name of the qualcoder? Yes. Maybe later on, qualcoder also, Vicky?
I'm not very in depth, but I do have a video on YouTube that compares all of the free qualitative analysis tools. I can
Okay.
put it in the chat if people want to watch that, because it is a good overview of the three existing free tools.
Okay. One is this one, qualcoder. The second one is Tagget, and the third one is.
Qcoder, it's actually in our library, so
Oh yes,
it's more for people who
qualcoder
do
is also there.
mixed
Yes.
methods. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely right. Yes. So all the three. Very good. I found 18 tools meant for qualitative research. And even I'm writing a comparative paper now, comparing all 18 of them to understand how they are. Okay, now it's a sharp 8 o'clock. So let us start off with this one. Before, I can give you the entire session to be taken over, Vicky. I will just introduce you to our entire gathering as the introduce. And before I can say this thing also, I would like to say that I'm recording the entire session. So I hope you don't have any problem with that. And I would be sharing the video with you later on. Good evening, participants. I really appreciate all of you joining us up today in the evening at this hour. And we are very fortunate to have Vicky Rampin. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name correctly. Okay. Now she works on Tagette. Now that's how she has, just now you all have heard that she has given us the introduction about Tagette and the pronunciation also. Because I was trying to learn, is it Tagouette or Tagouette? And I was trying to use the pronunciation tools also to understand how to pronounce it. So thank you for correcting me in that manner, Vicky. Tagette is a free and open source tool meant exclusively for the qualitative data analysis. That's what I have been apprised. With reference to Vicky Rampin, she is employed as an academic data librarian in the United States and cares deeply about safe, open access to research materials, from manuscripts to data to code and everything in between. With this, a small and sweet introduction about Vicky, now I go ahead and hand over the entire session to Vicky. And I would appreciate, Vicky, that you are giving us some of your valuable time, and would like to go ahead and learn as much as we can from you. Thank you, Vicky, for joining us this week. Thank you. So now the ball is in your court now.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the kind invitation and for having me today to talk about Tagette. I'm going to share my screen in a second, but for everyone, that's the website for Tagette, which has all the information I'm about to show you. I will go ahead and share this. So this is Tagette. It's hopefully everyone can see my screen okay. It is a free and open source qualitative analysis tool. It's, like I said, one of a set of 3 that is currently being maintained. There have been many other free and open source qualitative tools in the past. But Tagette fills a really interesting space in that it is made for exclusively qualitative. So in Tagette itself, the only things you can do is upload text, highlight it. So it's very focused. It has more features than those, but that's its core functionality. It's made for qualitative research. You can use Tagette locally on your computer. If you want to follow along with the hands-on portion, you can download Tagette. Or we also, Remy and I, my husband, who writes and maintains Tagette, we also have a free server that we maintain. You can, on the homepage, click it here or up on the nav bar. It goes to this app.tagette.org. So you can access Tagette in a few different ways on every platform: Mac, Windows, Linux, and on your web browser if you can't install anything on your computer, because we know some folks have lockdown computers as well. Tagette can also be installed locally by your institution. So if your university wanted to have, like, I don't know, tagette.delphi.edu or .in, then they could. And in fact, many universities in the United States have been hosting Tagette for their researchers, particularly folks who have sensitive data that they don't want to upload onto our server, which they shouldn't. So Tagette can be used in a lot of different ways, and can be, which is one of the nice things about it. So Tagette was made about 4.5 years ago, and Tagette was made, again, to sort of bolster free and equitable entry into using qualitative analysis tools. So with Tagette, you can import all of your text documents, so things like PDF, Word documents, text files, even books like EPUB and Mobi. So Tagette can take basically any text-based format that you're using. It doesn't handle images or videos or things like that, so it's just text only. And once you have some text loaded into Tagette, then you can tag it, highlight the text, and work with a lot of different export options to get your analysis formatted in a way that is useful for you. So that's just a little bit about Tagette. Before we get into the hands-on portion, I want to just make sure everyone knows where our guides are. So on the top of the homepage, there's this getting started page. And this has everything you will want to, if you, after the workshop, have a question about how to use Tagette, you forget how to create a tag, you forget how to add your collaborators, you forget what the permissions mean, then this getting started page is one you will want to bookmark because it has all that information here. So how to add all of your export options and how to export things. So anything that you would want to get started with using Tagette, this is the page. We also have FAQs if you have different questions, like actually how do you pronounce Tagette as the first FAQ, because it's the most common question we get. So it's like baguette, but with a T instead. Where can I get support for Tagette? We have an email at hi@tagette.org, which is how Romani got in touch with me. So if you run into an issue with Tagette or have a feature that you'd like to request, we're always eager to hear from folks out over at hi.tagette.org. So there are lots of guides that we've created to help you use Tagette. So definitely be aware and keep them in mind after this workshop as you keep working, or as maybe you want to explore Tagette more. We also, of course, have a guide that helps you with installation on Windows and Mac and things like that. So on our Tagette website, you can get a guide to help you through just about everything. And if you need further help, you can always email us hi@tagette.org. So, okay, that's a little just, I guess, administrative stuff about Tagette. But let's learn by doing. So let's actually get into the platform of Tagette, see what it looks like, and I'll explain how the different features work as we go along. So I'm hoping folks will follow along with me. Was everyone able to either make an account on app.tagette.org or install Tagette on their local computer? You can write in the chat or unmute if you'd like. You can either use that or you can feel free to install it on your local computer if you prefer that. So those are both two different ways to access Tagette. So again, this is what our server looks like. You can register now for free if you don't have an account. You don't need to put in your email address, but it's just useful in case you forget your password. We don't share it with anyone. You can read our full terms of service as well. They basically say, please don't upload any like sensitive information to Tagette. We promise we won't sell any of your data, sort of that. So you can go through the TOU as you want, but that's basically what we're saying. We're just two people running this to help you all. So we're not interested in anything. But I have an account on Tagette, so I'm going to go ahead and log in. And when I log in, and it will look the same whether you're on Tagette on your local computer actually, or whether you log in on a server. The first page is your list of Tagette projects. So everything in Tagette is organized by a project. So this can be something thematic, like weaving digital preservation into the organizational fabric is an article that I wrote that had some interview data. So this is one project. This, I was just interested, it's a lit review. So it's just more thematic than an actual project. But you can see when you log in to Tagette, everything is sort of organized as a project. If you're using Tagette on your local computer, so not at app.tagette.org, but you downloaded it, installed it on your machine, you won't see your name or your username here. You should just see welcome. We call it single user mode because it's just you on your computer. And you shouldn't see any projects if this is your first time opening Tagette. So it will look a little different, but not that much if you've installed Tagette locally. So with Tagette, you can import a project file, but since we are starting fresh, what we are all going to do together here is create new project. So everyone on app.tagette.org and click create new project, and you get brought to this screen where you're just asked to name and describe your project. So I can say, I don't know, let's say e-learning interview project, just because I know that's the data I picked up later on. So I can say something like interviewing students about their experiences with e-learning. Because I don't know about all of you, but at my institution, we've been doing a lot of distance learning. So this is a timely topic. So once I have the name of my project and some description set, I can create it. And then it's just blank. So you can see here that there's two basic panes when you're looking at Tagette. There are these three tabs on the left that say project info, documents, and highlights. And then there's this right pane that's empty. So it will be empty until we have something loaded in Tagette. It's basically where you do all your work. And on the left side is basically where you manage all of your work. So on app.tagette.org, we are, I think, the only qualitative software right now that supports real-time collaboration. So you can add a collaborator by their username and give them permissions of lots of different levels. The levels are listed in our Getting Started guide, but they range from only being able to view the project and not being able to add highlights or tags to being a full administrator of a project. So you can add collaborators at many different levels. If you have created a code book in another software, for instance, during your qualitative research, you can import that here into Tagette, so you don't have to manually recreate like every theme that you've coded, for instance. And then, of course, you can also export the project at the end and delete it if you're done with it. But everything in Tagette sort of starts when you add a document. So again, Tagette only takes text-based files, PDFs, TXT files, RTF, I mean, whatever, HTML even, anything that is text you can put into Tagette. So I looked around for a data set that might be interesting, and I found one that is openly available, so everybody here can download it to their machine and upload it into Tagette, which is what I'm about to do. So basically, this is a transcript about how students react to e-learning. This is very much like something I would create in my own qualitative research, because I don't know about all of you, but I use interviews quite heavily. So what I'm going to do is just download it. Just click the download button here and save the file. And then I'm just going to upload it into Tagette. So now I can, after I have downloaded this Word document, docx file, I'm going to go into Tagette, click add a document. You can denote, by the way, whether the document is oriented left to right or right to left, because Tagette also has support for multiple languages. So if you are working with Arabic for whatever reason, for instance, you can set your document as being read right to left rather than left to right. But this document is in English, and English is left to right, so I'm going to leave it there. And I'm going to find where I put the transcripts on my computer. I give the transcripts a name. So I'm going to say like transcripts for students. And you can give it some description. So a description isn't mandatory, but I will say when you're conducting your qualitative research, it is really useful to put a description into your documents. This can be something like who's in them. So I might name the 4 students, like student A is Nick Wolf. He's not a student. He's my colleague in the library where I work. You could put student B is this person. I mean, you can add whatever description is useful, but I will say having some description about like the who, what, where, and when of your document is really, really helpful for you to remember later on. So I'm going to click import, and I get the beautiful spinning wheel. And what this is doing right now is it's being uploaded into Tagette, as you can see. And now in my documents, I have one. For folks following along, were you able to get your document uploaded into Tagette? You can put it in the chat or unmute and let me know if you'd like.
Yes, some of you are following, I hope, Vicky, also step by step. Yes, Vicky, I've been able to
okay, great.
As you have said.
Okay,
I
wonderful.
hope the others are also taking care of it side by side.
If anyone runs into any problems, you can also interrupt me at any time and ask a question, or I can help you with anything. So once you have your document loaded into Tagette, you click on it, and it gets loaded into the right side here. So you can see already it has the structure of an interview. There's I, which stands for interview, interviewer, and the text of what they said, the focus group member 1, FG1M, focus group member 1, saying this, focus group member 2 saying this, and you can see it's a focus group transcript. Sweet. Now that our document is in here, we can just get going with the qualitative analysis part, right? So we can look at our focus group members, say quite daunting, wasn't it? So with Tagette, to create this highlight, all I'm doing is holding down on my left mouse. I'm holding down the left mouse button. I am dragging it across, like to drag and highlight any text on the web. And then you'll notice there's this new highlight button that appears. When I click that, I have the option to assign it a tag. Tagette comes with interesting as the default tag, but that doesn't tell me a lot about what's being said. So what I'm going to do is create a new tag. And I can give it a name and some description, just like we saw with documents. So I can say something like anxiety, because somebody saying something is daunting might be a signal of anxiety. And I can say something like, when a participant exhibits a lot of stress. It's really important, just like with documents, that when you're creating tags, or what other qualitative software is called codes, that you give it some description so that as you're tagging, you want to have consistency. And you can say like, oh, I tagged this as anxiety, but it might really be, job, it might be tagged as something different. So using these descriptions give us a way to come back to what we did in the past and make sure we're staying consistent as we conduct our analysis. So when I hit save and close, now you can see anxiety has appeared as a tag. I can select it. I hit save and close again, and now the text is highlighted. If I hover over it, you can see it's tagged with anxiety. Also, if I go to my highlights tab now, you can see anxiety has a count of 1. And when I click on the tag itself, I actually get a list of everything that is tagged with anxiety, and I can verify that it is from this document. And I can always click and go back to the document where I tag things. So like I said, this is what you would be doing with Tagette. You'd be loading documents, creating tags, and highlighting text. So that is Tagette. There are lots of things to do with that functionality. So let's just create a few more. So we have a little bit more data to look at. So this one's talking about DVDs. Let's just say old media. Talking about obsolete formats like DVDs. No offense, I still have DVDs actually, and Blu-rays, but they are considered old media now. So as I keep highlighting, I can keep going. So many focus group participants. It's really interesting. There's so many lectures. This person seems overwhelmed. So we can say something like, overwhelmed. When a participant is near breaking point. I don't think this person in this interview is near there, but just for the sake of the tag. Okay. Does the document open as an HTML document? Yes, that's exactly what happened. So we uploaded a docx file, and what's being displayed to us in Tagette is HTML. That's exactly right. That's what's happening under the hood. The other question, can we say that we are creating codes by creating tags? Yes, exactly. We use the term tags because it's easier for us than codes. Codes never really felt intuitive to me when discussing qualitative research. So we went with tags instead, but they are the same things, exactly. So one thing that Tagette has that is unique, or at least was unique when we made Tagette, is this backlight. Backlight, what it does is it basically grays out all of the text that is not highlighted so that the text that is highlighted really pops out. And this is useful for seeing a few different things, like how much of a document is highlighted if you wanted to look at it, if you wanted to snap right to your codes as you're looking through. Obviously, I didn't tag anything further down, but Backlight is one of those features that you can find in the Documents tab that is just really interesting and useful and provides a different way to analyze your data and to look at your qualitative data. You cannot import video or image files in Tagette. It only is text only. There are free and open tools that do allow you to have video and audio. That's Qualcoder is the one who can. And I'll just drop a link to a video I did where I go over that. So I go over Qualcoder, Qcoder, and Tagette in that video I just put in the chat. So if you want to see a qualitative software that takes audio and video, you should look at that video. So we can open, I'm not sure, can you rephrase that question, please, about transcription? I'm just not sure what you mean.
Vicky, he's asking you whether, after, do we have to transcribe the video and the audio file, and then we have to bring it into the, import it into Tagette, right? That's what.
Yes, yes. Okay, Tagette is only for text. So if you have audio or video, it does need to be transcribed before it goes into Tagette. But if that's a deal breaker for you, then you should definitely look at Qualcoder, because Qualcoder does take audio and video and does let you do like tagging and stuff. So if you are using primarily AV, then Tagette might not be the right fit. But there is another open tool that is. If you are just working with text files, transcriptions, things like that, Tagette would be a great fit for you. So that's a great question and a good nuance between all the different tools that are available.
Thank you, Vicky, for answering it also. Thank you.
No problem. Okay. So so like I said, this is Tagette. You go through, you tag. It's a long checklist. We all call that anxiety. There are 2 years of us and everyone's waiting on it. Seems like they're overwhelmed and anxious. You can apply multiple tags if you want. If you click into a highlight, you can edit it. So if I want to remove the overwhelmed, I can do that. I also miss the why. So I can delete the highlight and reform it to make sure I get the whole sentence. So you can always edit everything that you're doing in Tagette. So to edit the highlight, again, you click it, you can create a new tag and apply it, you can delete the highlight, or you can add any of the other tags that you created. Everything you put into Tagette can be exported. So on the right pane here, there's this button, export this view. So if I exported my transcribed or my highlighted document, let's say as docx, which is how I put it in. Here we go. Let me open it up. What's interesting about the way that Teget provides these exports is that you can always get to the tags right in the exports. So sorry, let's wait for this to load. So you can see here, here's the transcript. You can see the tag follows right after the highlight. So you can always get out what you put into Tagette. Everything you put in can be exported. You can do PDFs as well. You can get something similar. HTML, again, something similar. So whatever format that you need to get the export in, we can typically try and support it. So there's one for PDF. If we have documents, sorry?
I have one more question, which I'm seeing that you're reading it right now. We have many documents that have similar themes. Can we create common tag for all of them on the fly or individually and then merge them?
So every tag that you create is available for all the documents. So I can tag any of my documents with these tags. You can also merge tags, for instance, if but it isn't, you wouldn't need to merge them because they're across multiple documents. So I'll upload something on my computer quickly just to show you how it works. I just have another here. I have we'll call it redacted interview. Give it some description. Just so you can see how it works with many documents. This one is a little bit longer than the other one, which is why I didn't upload it first. But it should be uploaded shortly.
And Vicky, here as it is uploading, I want to ask you one more question. Only English language, or we can work out with different languages also here?
Different languages. That's why we have the left to right and right to left, because some documents are read right to left. So we definitely have multilingual support for adding documents in multiple languages. We also have support for running Tagette itself in multiple languages. So while this is going, I'll just show you in your Tagette account in the settings, you can change the language. I don't know why my drop down isn't working, but if you hit the drop down here, you'll see a few different languages. There's Dutch, German, Spanish, I think Portuguese, Vietnamese. There are a few languages in the settings. Those are all
Indian
volunteer.
And what about
No, so
No.
these are all volunteers who have translated this. So we provide a Transifex project, and I can send that to the group. And basically volunteers see all of the, see everything that we need translated into Tagette and translated into their language, and then we add it there. So you can see there are 15 different project languages. Some need to be updated. Some have been requested, and some we haven't gotten to because we don't have any volunteers that speak Arabic or Indonesian, though these languages have been requested. So if you would like to add like Tamil, Hindi, any language in India, we would be more than happy to accept it.
Thank you.
And you can do it through this project.
Sure. So that is one thing. And there are a couple of questions which have come up right now. Can we add more documents on this project?
Yep. So you can see I have 2 documents that finished uploading. So you can add as many as you have. There's no limit.
Okay. And second question is, can we create graphs from the tags of multiple documents?
You can't create the graph in Tagette itself, but all the data is there. So you can export, you can get an export from Tagette and create the graph in like Excel or wherever you would like to make a graph. But we don't do any of the graphing in Tagette itself. But all of the information is there for you to do it.
Okay. Then one more question, Vicky, but then the tags will be created in English only, even if the documents are in different languages, right?
No, you can put whatever language is in your keyboard. I just only have English. So
Okay.
let me, I don't know, let me find an accent to paste in. I always Google my husband's name in French because I don't have accents on my keyboards. And his name has an accent in it. Here we go. But it's spelled with an I. So this is just one example. It's still like Western script or whatever, but you can paste in accents. You can use whatever language you want for the tags. It just happens to be my computer's in English.
Okay. Now there is one more quick question which has come in. Can we add text from image?
I don't know what that means. Can you explain?
Apurva, can you unmute yourself? Because even I'm also confused. You have an image, and on an image you have the text. So you want to say that, can I work about with those texts?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Vicky, what she's saying is that, let's suppose that we have an image in front of us. Okay. Now on that image, like you will be seeing in advertisements, there is a cup, and on the mug, let's say there is a cup, and on cup there is a text written. And now we have retrieved that text into this. So can we add those text also for coding purposes?
No, no, because Teget doesn't handle images at all. We just don't display them. So that would be anything with like text or audio visual wouldn't, or anything with images or videos wouldn't be a fit in Teget.
Okay. And next question is, does Tagette support import or export from R or Python?
I don't know what you would get from R or Python that you would want to import into Tagette. I guess that's the other question. Like I said, Tagette only imports text files. So if your export from R or Python is a PDF or a text file or a Word document, then you can put it into Tagette. But if you like want to put a spreadsheet into Tagette, it wouldn't work. It's just for text. You can import, you can import your codebook as a CSV. So if you have other tags, that's the only time where we would accept a CSV. But you can't add a document of a spreadsheet. It's just text formats.
Okay. Thank you. So now we have coded. So after that, we can go ahead and okay, you're going to show it to us. Yes.
Yeah, so this is just another document. So I'm just going to tag a few things in this so you can see what happens. You can see it follows the same format, I for interviewer, H for the participant. So I'll just do some random tags. We'll just say that's interesting. We'll say that's anxiety, et cetera, et cetera. So we're adding some tags. When I go to my highlights, you'll notice that the tags have more numbers next to them now. When I click on overwhelmed, you can see 2 come from one document, 2 highlights. The last one comes from the new document we just put in. So when you click into a highlight or click into a tag, you will see all of the highlights associated with it. This you can export in a lot of different ways. You can export this as a spreadsheet from Tagette. If you wanted to, for instance, get a count of the different highlights that appear, because you can have highlights appear over multiple tags like we've seen. You can also see all highlights to get a feel for all of them. You can export this the same way as everything else. So every time you want to export anything on this side, it will always be on this top right. So if we export it as an Excel file, I'll just show you a little bit about what the tags look like. It's just loading. So here it goes. It's the document, the tag, and the content. So you can use this to create different graphs. For instance, we had a question about graphs of the tags of multiple documents. You can use this export to make that graph. For instance, the ID is the unique ID of the highlight itself. This also, if we had, A good thing to show that I don't think we had here. Let me just edit a highlight and add multiple tags to it. So let's say this one's interesting in anxiety. When we go back to the highlights and click see all highlights, you'll see anxiety and interesting sharing the space there because I've tagged that highlight with both. When I export this as Excel, they will actually be in 2 different rows. And they're in 2 different rows because we're separating them on the tag. So you can see them here. They will have the same ID though. So the ID is on the content. I can't show us the graph because I'd have to make it on the fly. So that would be something that you'd have to, like, you know, insert a graph with on Excel. So it's not something I can show you right now, but it's something that you could very easily do using this export and using different charts availability. Especially for the folks who are talking about using R and Python, you can definitely take that CSV file and manipulate it with R and Python. So Tagette also might be a place where you begin your work, and you can take it out and use it with another piece of software as well. You can also export it as, you know, a document if you prefer to see your tags in a different way. So when you export your highlights, you'll just see the content, the document, and the tags, sort of like how they're represented on the web. So this is what the export of highlights looks like from Tagette. And again, you can do it for all of them, but you can also do it for anything individually. It will all be the same, all on that upper right-hand corner. So these are the main things with Tagette. You upload as many documents as you'd like. You highlight them however you'd like, with as many tags as you'd like. You can always go back and edit things. So let's, for instance, say that anxiety and overwhelmed is the same thing. Let's say after all of our analysis, we're like, you know what, those actually, we're just going to call them the same thing. When you hit edit, there's a merge button to merge tags together. This also can be useful if you start out really specific and want to make your thematic analysis more general. So when you say merged, it says overwhelmed will be merged into anxiety. You can switch it to any of the tags that you want. And when I click merge tags, all of the highlights with overwhelming get that removed. And instead they get tagged with anxiety. So now when I click into anxiety, you can see there are a lot more highlights than before, and overwhelmed is gone. So that was one example of merging tags with Tagette. Great. So you've added some documents, you've tagged everything the way you want it to be tagged. You can export everything, export your documents, you can export your highlights. You can take them from Tagette and use them in whatever software you'd like. But you can also export the whole project. And when you export the whole project, this can be useful, for instance, if you started out on app.tagette.org, but you're going somewhere where you don't have internet connection and you want to keep working on your project. You can download Tagette to your computer, run it like any other program, and you can actually export your project from app.tagette.org. I clicked export project here, and re-import it. What you'll get is a SQLite 3 file. It's a database file, so if you wanted to actually look at it, you could. If you don't want to look at it, that's more than fine as well. And now on my, I can show you what it looks like. Where did you go, export? Here we go. You can see here I have the SQLite 3 file. And this is what I can use. Oops, you don't see my whole screen, just that tab. I'm going to share my whole screen so you can see it. So now you can see I have this SQLite 3 file here. And this is what you would use to import your project into your local Tagette or a different instance of Tagette. So that's what happens when you click Export Project. You can also export your codebook, and your codebook is all of your tags with the count and their description. So you can get it as a QDC file, which means you can import that into NVivo or Atlas TI or MaxQDA or any other qualitative software. You can get it as CSV or as Excel, PDF, whatever you'd like. So if we get it as Excel, it's just an easier way to look at it, I think. You can see what happens after you export your codebook again. The tag, the description, and the number of highlights. So this can be really useful to say, like, how many times does anxiety appear in my whole project? Well, 7 times because I haven't tagged anything really. But this can provide some useful information for you as you keep working on your qualitative projects. So that is the codebook export. And yeah, so that is really the main functionality in Tagette. Like I said, there's fun things to do like Backlight. Everything you put in can be exported, so you don't have to worry about losing your data. Everything is exportable after you do the work in it as well. And all of the different views are all the management of your documents and tags are done in this left pane. And then all of your viewing and exporting of those materials is done on this right pane, and the actual tagging as well. So that's Tagette. I wanted to make sure I had plenty of time for questions. Folks have other questions or want me to show other functionality within Tagette, I'm happy to do that. There's also, like I said, quite a lot that is possible with Tagette that sorry, there's a question. What is the output of all this? Your qualitative analysis, of course. What is the data type in which the output of Tagette is saved? You can save it different things in different file formats. You can get the whole project as a SQLite file, which is a database. You can get the documents exported as HTML, docx, or PDF. You can get your highlights exported as HTML, docx, PDF, Excel, and CSV. So different things can be exported in different ways, your output. How would you go about creating sub-themes within the main theme? That's a great question. So, and again, all of this information is also listed on our guides. So if you have these questions later on after this call, all of this is in the guide as well. So that will be a good resource for all of you as well. So sub-themes are created basically with punctuation. So actually in the Tagette, in the create tags, there's a note on what we call hierarchical tagging. So if you, let's say you have a tag called old software and old media, and we'll make one called old. It's not going to appear like a tree, but when you click old, everything from old media and old software will be there, like you can see here. And you can see how all 3 of them are highlighted. That's because old and media and old and software are separated by a dash. This could be anything. It could be an underscore, could be a period. In Tagette, you make your hierarchies with punctuation. So, like I said, if I were just to click old.media, I would just see this one. If I was to click old.software, there's nothing with that. And if I click old, I get everything with after the dash. And you can see it doesn't work if I don't have any dashes. Like if I start this old and then I have gibberish after it, nothing is there. and it won't be factored in with the old. I mean, how can we use it in our research and studies? So if you're conducting qualitative research, this can be used as a qualitative analysis tool. So if you're not familiar with qualitative research, I can't give you a primer on it right now, but there are many great ones that exist. So qualitative data analysis software facilitate our qualitative analysis and deep engagement with our reading materials. So within qualitative analysis, there is a subfield of CACTUS, which is like a terrible acronym, but basically what it is computer-assisted data analysis software. So this is like the main factor, or this is a list of all of the software that help with qualitative research. So for instance, if you want to understand how Tagette would be used in software, you would understand how all in any of these are used in research work. So if you, it's sort of like you need to know how qualitative analysis works, and then these are basically ways to facilitate the qualitative analysis. So qualitative analysis is at the base level, a deep reading and engagement with source materials. Those can be primary source materials like interviews, which is the example I gave in the workshop today. They could be secondary use materials like literature from a literature review. What qualitative analysis is deeply reading those over and over again, multiple times, either inductively or deductively assigning meaning to the content in those materials. Like I highlighted a quote and tagged it as anxiety because the quote symbolizes anxiety, or the quote is an example of anxiety in the corpus. And then what I can do is abstract and create a framework from which to understand the phenomenon I'm studying. So that is qualitative research, and all Tagette does is facilitate that. It's all any of these do. You can do everything that qualitative analysis tools do without using them. You can print out things and highlight them and do the same analysis. We just know it's not as useful because you can't like search and make interesting graphs and do that with paper. So all Tagette does is just helps facilitate your qualitative work that you would otherwise just be doing by highlighting things on paper and assigning them tags. So that's in a nutshell how all qualitative analysis software can be used, and Tagette is just one of those. So hopefully that makes sense. No, there are no visualizations in Tagette. All the visualizations that you would want to make would be as part of an export. So you could export your highlights, for instance, as the CSV file and use like Python or R to make a word cloud of them. So Tagette is really straight up qualitative analysis. There's no quant in it at all. We're not, besides just simply counting how many times you have assigned a tag. So there's no visualization, there's no, nothing like that, but it does facilitate creating those, because now what you can do is take your exports and create that word cloud yourself using Excel or whatever else. Tagette, like I said, is really focused on the qualitative analysis portion of your work.
So that's a wonderful presentation, Vicky, in that manner. Now, the question for me is, we can get the interviews also taken care, coded them, transcribe them, and then import it into Tagette and then proceed further, right? Now,
Yeah.
Once you have created these tags or the codes that you have generated out here, is it possible to go ahead with the content analysis and the thematic analysis, which is again purely qualitative by nature? Can we do it by Tagette also?
Yeah, so you can do things like merge tags up, for instance, like when you're doing thematic analysis, folks tend to start really specific and then make more general categories of themes. So you can do that in Tagette through merging tags. So you can click edit, and there's this merge button here, and you can merge any tag into any other tag. So that's one way to do some thematic analysis. Content analysis, it depends exactly what you mean, but like I said, it's all about highlighting and tagging. So it's sort of the bread and butter of Teget.
So
the other thing,
yes, please. I'm so sorry. You were saying something.
No, I was gonna just show something a little different, but go ahead and finish your question.
No, that's okay. You can show it right now, and maybe I can go ahead with the next question.
Okay. I just wanted to mention Tagette is also being developed 100% in the open. This is Tagette's repository. There are people in the Tagette community who have asked us for things that we don't have yet, and we have open issues on a lot of them, and we've been doing work on them. So for instance, something we get asked a lot about is, can we change the colors of highlights? So I don't know if you noticed, but the highlights in Tagette are only yellow. And you can't actually change the color, but we have an open issue about it. And in fact, work is being pursued. So there's a lot of things that still aren't in Tagette, but it's being very actively developed. And you can see a lot of users have submitted different features that they would like in Tagette that we're working on. And you can see some of those actively being worked on here, like adding multiple files in your upload instead of uploading things one by one. So there is a lot of work that is still being done on Tagette. It's still very much an active project. So I just wanted to show that for everyone as well, because there might be something you want to request, and we might actually be working on it, which would be very cool. Or you might have something that you would like or that isn't in Tagette that no one has requested before, and we might want to add. So we very much listen to our community of users, and it's being actively developed, like I said, here on GitLab. So anyone can contribute to that as they want. As for the question about bibliometrics, if you mean a literature review, yes. If you mean quantitative assessment of like representations of citations over a corpus, you could do it, but it would be by hand. So I guess it depends which type of bibliometrics you're looking for, but people have definitely been using Tagette for like literature reviews and things like that.
Okay. Now, one quick question to you. What is the reason that such a wonderful, simple tool like Teget, why is it that we haven't attached to the numbers or the quantitative part of it? Suppose think if I want to do mixed methodologies. Okay, Vicky. Now, how should I do it using Teget?
Yeah, so that's a great question. The short answer is basically that there are a lot of existing quantitative tools, and they do their job very well. So what's missing, what we saw missing in the landscape was the qualitative side. The other thing we're really interested in is facilitating taking stuff out of Tagette and putting it into a different software. So if you wanted to do mixed methods, that would be one way to use Tagette, is to use Tagette for your qualitative portion, export your materials out of Tagette, and then do whatever quantitative analysis you wanted to do in whatever quantitative software that you'd like. So it wouldn't be your one-stop shop software if you were doing mixed methods, but it could be one software in a toolbox if you were doing mixed methods. Like there are no statistics or anything like that in here, but you could get statistics from the exports of Tagette. So you have set it up that you can use it in a lot of different, the exports you can use in a lot of different ways.
Right. Thank you, Vicky. And one more question. Supposing along with these tags that we are generating, how should we add or comment on our demographic codes also here?
Yeah, we don't. So in other software, they're called cases, I believe. We don't actually have support for that outside of just adding a tag about people's demographic categories, but it is an open issue. So a different user asked us about it, and it's something we're pursuing. Where is it here? Somebody asked us for it a while ago. So things like, so we have been trying to figure out a way to add this functionality into Tagette actually.
Okay.
So this is one thing that's not there, but we're actively pursuing.
Oh, okay. I think some of us, like, some of the participants were exactly asking this one only. So maybe down the line, we would be able to come up with these features even in Teget also, right? So that's a
Definitely.
wonderful thing. I mean, I really liked it. It's a simple thing, high thinking. That's the philosophy,
Yeah.
I think, of Teget. Simplicity with high thinking, kind of
Yes.
a thing that is coming up on this one. Okay, wonderful in that way, Vicky, for giving us the exposure to the software so that we are able to understand how to pursue pure qualitative research using Teget, right? No other things. However, down the line means 2 months, we would be able to see that particular feature, or it will take some more time.
I'm not sure because Remy and I work on this in our night and weekends. So we work on it when we have time. Like it's a Saturday for me. I think it's Saturday for everyone else as well. But
Yes.
it's like not our full-time job, so we do it as much as we can.
Okay, sure. That's fantastic. So wish you best of luck, and I'll be waiting for those features also to be seen. Looking
Definitely.
at the community, is there any community that all of us can join up in case we have some
Yeah,
problem or something? Maybe you can share it with us.
definitely. So it's on the website as well, but let me share it. We
Mhm.
have a mailing list that we use. Where is it? That are called groups.io. It's like a forum and mailing list.
Okay.
So you can use this to keep up. I don't think I can actually see the message. Yeah, here it is. So you can see a few of our users ask us questions on here. We also are on Twitter at the Tagette Project. So we tweet our updates. So when new features are added, if something is happening that's interesting, you can find it all on our Twitter as well. But
Right.
all of it is available from the website. Yeah.
Okay. Now, one more thing I wanted to ask you: is there any difference between Teget that we are going to install on computer and the one which is available on the browser, or they are the same?
Yes. The only difference is the one that you install on your local computer, you can only use alone. The one on the server is collaborative. You can add collaborators. The one on your local computer is just for you alone.
Okay.
So
So if
that's
I
that's
want,
the main difference.
okay, so if I want a team to work, it is better to go ahead with the web browser. That's what you're telling to me?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Sure. And is there any limitation as to how much of data can be imported into Teget?
No, not yet. There's only been no limits because no one has abused it yet. Like we haven't had someone try to upload 1 million files yet, but we just ask that people, not upload 1 million files. So we don't have any set limits on there.
Okay.
Um,
Hmm. The only
but
reason why
yeah,
I was asking you is because of the big data that is there for us. So that was the reason why I wanted to know. For example, and by the way, now I have remembered, what about tweets? Can we import them also? Because they are also in the form of the text. So can we
yeah.
import them or
Have
not at all?
if you have tweets as a text file, you can import them into Teget.
Okay. So comments even from YouTube, I can take the comments and then put them in the text file and then import them into Text, right?
Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
wonderful. Okay, fine. I understand. So simplicity with high thinking. That is what your philosophy is.
Yes.
No
And
difficulties with
focus.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I think that's a wonderful presentation that you have given to us. If there is something else that you think that has to be shared with us, that would be wonderful. Otherwise, if you tell me, no, Ramni, this is the only features that we have got in Teget, and one can go ahead and we can use it, that's fine.
No, I have nothing else. Like I said,
Yes,
feel free to
please.
check out the. Oh,
Yes.
no, I don't have anything else. Just feel free to check out the website and definitely email us if you run into any bugs or issues. So thank you so much for having me today.
Yes, thank you, Vicky. I really appreciate you giving us some of your valuable time. I will definitely get back to you also. Till then, thank you for joining us up this evening. Have a wonderful Saturday and a good weekend too. Bye bye, Vicky. Take care.
Bye, all.
Bye. Okay, thank you guys. And you have seen that here something which is thing that we have got is a very simple one. And I think the philosophy we have understood is simplicity is the best one. Rather than going into the complications and everything, Vicky has shown us through Teget that yes, it's just the text that we are going to look into it and how to proceed further, and maybe down the line she has said that those features are also coming into. I think those two features, if we have got the rest of it, Excel is there and the other things are also present for us, and we would be able to work upon them. I think that is what she is trying to hint us and to give us the information. So with this, I think I have come up to the end of the master class sessions. Now today is also the day when I'm supposed to complete with my workshop. However, I'm just extending one more week so that there are certain topics which are still pending from my side, and that has to be completed. Now, I want all of you to take some good rest tomorrow, entire day. No session, no class, no nothing tomorrow, no master class also. So all of you can go ahead and you can enjoy your Sunday tomorrow. Monday, I will be joining up again by 12:30 for the usual class, and again in the evening at 8 o'clock, so that I can. Yes, thank you, Apurva. Thanks a lot. And yes, I'm so much happy that yes, 14 master classes. I mean, this is something which I never thought so that I would be introducing in this 1 month. However, I don't know, something was like I should thank my angels or whatever I have to say. And it was something that I have been able to achieve, and it was a wonderful thing. And that was number one. And thanks to all of you who had been like a supporting pillars for me, for being with me, supporting me, cooperating with me, and giving me that much of leverage. So without you, I don't think so I could have achieved this thing also side by side. Yes, Kanan sir, without you, you see, you, Kanan sir, I have seen that you yourself are, has got a lot of, maybe in my next workshop on the similar one, which is going to kick off from 25th, I also would be introducing you also as one of the masters, for the qualitative research, and you may think about a topic and then I can carry forward. Ma'am, is it 12? Now, Apurva, what do you mean by 12th or 14th? Tomorrow, today, that's all. Tomorrow, rest, all of you. I would be, it's 14, not
Ma'am,
12.
I was saying this regarding the master classes.
Master classes, 14 of them,
Okay,
totally.
ma'am. Ma'am,
Okay.
actually, I wanted to ask you one more thing.
Yes.
That you told us that you will give us books regarding these softwares we have attended master classes for, and it would be helpful if we can get some reading materials like articles based on those papers. So that
Yes, you
will.
would be getting it, Apurva. Tomorrow, let us rest little bit, and Monday I would be sharing the data for all the master classes that I had. They have sent me the PPTs. Recordings are there except for two, so that I have requested them. They would be sharing it with me, and the articles related to these softwares, I have separate folders. I will be sharing it with you on Monday, not tomorrow. Tomorrow all of you can nicely have a good weekend. I think we all require that one. So much of things. Even I was thinking that 14 master classes and entertaining so many things is also something that we need to digest. So let us go ahead and take that rest tomorrow. Monday, I would be back again with a lot of other things that I have to be done on focus group, ethnography, then I have got phenomenology, then I have got grounded theory. So there is one more which are phenomenology. So, these are the ones that I would be focusing on in the coming weeks, along with one session on interviews, because interviews, there are three varieties, and majority of us, we get confused about the interviews. So interview, semi-structured, structured, and unstructured ones. We will start off with that also. And
And
we
questionnaire as well.
Yes, questionnaire also. Qualitative questionnaires are a little bit different from the quantitative, so I would definitely take it up. Maybe I should start off with the questionnaires only on Monday. So 12:30 is what I'm looking forward. So some of you can join me up at 12:30, and usually I'm there at 8 o'clock. So I will be present on 8 o'clock again on Monday. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So tomorrow, enjoy yourself. Have a good Sunday, I would say. And Monday, I will be back with a bang bang. All right, chalo. Take care. Good night. All of you are writing. We are happy to welcome you. We all Nepali participants are from same place. We live near the birthplace of Lord Buddha. Wow, that's wonderful. You are inviting me. Rajendra sir, I would be speaking on Monday via telephone. Maybe, there are some good things that I can share with each one of you. I would be discussing it, and maybe you can invite me, and then we can take care from there also. I'm looking forward to visit Nepal from a very long time, and I don't know how things are right now, if I can visit Nepal at this time or not. I will have to find out, and I will definitely, have to discuss certain points with all 3-4 of you. I would be taking care of that also. And the rest of them also, I will be speaking one-on-one, and then we can carry on. Right now, let's have a very good weekend. Let's forget for today night and tomorrow everything and nicely enjoy. Come back to me again on Monday. Okay? So till then, thank you. Bye-bye. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Good night,
You're
ma'am.
most welcome, all of you. Good night, drugs.